Okay, this is Kiana Bowen from CGT 345. And the mutation for this week's lab for us was Earth, so I just have my simple obstacle course here and I'll just run through it. So first we've got this quicksand area. And you'll notice I added a health bar in this time, so every time you collide with one of these obstacles, it's going to take off some health points. So next we have these rolling boulder things. Um, and they're a little hard to dodge, mostly because the collision capsules are a little bit big, so they tend to overlap anyways. Um, and then for the last obstacle here, I have these spikes, and they push you back, and sometimes you can get stuck on them and get thrown off the level like that. Um, and also I tried to implement a respawning on death, and it sort of worked and it kind of didn't, and I'll just go ahead and get this guy's health down enough um, so we can see it. Maybe it's gonna take a second, sorry. So what I wanted it to do basically was quit the level and then start it over again, so you would start at the beginning, but all it does, as you can see, is quit the level. Um, so that's definitely something to work on in the future. I will go ahead and open up the blueprint for these. So the first one is I coded the quicksand area in the third-person character blueprint, um, and instead of casting to the third-person character, I casted to the sand area. So I have when it overlaps, it's going to decrease the walking speed from the character movement attribute, and then when it ends, it's going to bring it back up to 600, which is the default. And then here's the code that I have for the health bar. So just creating a widget when the level begins, adding it to the viewport. And then more importantly, here I have the decrease of the health bar. So just setting the full health, subtracting 5 from the full health and setting it again. And then casting to the rolling boulder things, which I named roller, and decreasing it. But eventually, somewhere it was overridden, and every time it collides with anything in the level, any harmful object, then it'll subtract health points. So that's why every obstacle hurts the character. Um, so here's where I tried to do the respawn type thing. So I have it on event tick, which I know isn't the best, but so I have it branching. So if full health is less than or equal to 0, it's going to open the level again, that's the name of this level. Oh, you can't see it. But the name of this level is Elemental Obstacle, so it would reopen it, and then I wanted it to have an explosion emitter, so it would look like the player would kind of explode. And then here I had the location where the third-person character is actually exists in the level. So he would start there, not spawn on the bottom of everything that's going on. So that's those. And then for the rolling boulder, I actually used, so this is kind of like event tick, and it's going to, I added a rotation node. You can't really tell because they're round, but when they were cubes, they would rotate very nicely. But that's still in there regardless. So it's branching, and then I have the offset factor, the offset, and then offset max. So if the offset max is greater than or equal to the offset max, which is 40 in this case, because I wanted to have them go all the way across the level, so I increased the offset factor. It's going to go to, if it's bigger, then it's going to go to true, and it's going to swap the sign, and it's going to multiply it by that. So it's going to go the other direction. So it's going to start subtracting from itself, and then it's going to multiply by a negative, and then it's going to start adding and going the other direction, and it just keeps doing that forever. And then also, I had this bit of code here where I was trying to get them to offset randomly, so I would take a random float and I would try to get them to go different directions. But what I ended up doing was I literally just rotated it so that they would go the opposite direction. So I didn't end up needing this in the end after all. So these are the spikes that I have, and I asked this question in class how to get an actor to knock back the character. So I found that really helpful and I kind of used it here. So I have it casting to the third person character and then adding an impulse. And I ticked the velocity change box just to get um, some more power on that. Um, so the target is character movement and it's getting the actor location and subtracting from that and putting it into a vector, adding 50, returning it, multiplying it by 5, and then putting it into an impulse. So that's kind of how that's working. The only thing for this is I really wish the respawning bit of code would have worked because I feel like that would have been really cool, but it sort of works, not quite. I found that in the blueprints that I kind of found out the hard way that it doesn't like more than one event actor beacon overlap nodes. So I had to work my way around that and use the event component begin overlap on component begin overlap. So I found that out after some trial and error, which was really helpful. So now I can do multiple things. And that's pretty much all for my level. I feel like I learned a lot in this one, and I can't wait for the next. Alright, thanks.